A former pastor of a prominent Texas megachurch, Robert Preston Morris, has been indicted on multiple child sexual abuse charges in Oklahoma. According to a statement released by the Oklahoma Attorney General's office on Wednesday, the indictment is the result of an investigation into allegations of sexual abuse spanning several years, with the charges serving as a significant development in a long-running case that has finally brought the accused to legal scrutiny after more than 4 decades. Background on Robert Preston Morris and Gateway Church. Robert Preston Morris, 63, is a former pastor of Gateway Church, a megachurch located in the Dallas suburb of Southlake, Texas. Gateway Church is considered one of the largest and most influential religious congregations in the United States. Founded by Morris in 2000, the church has grown significantly over the years, with multiple campuses and tens of thousands of active members. Gateway is known not only for its spiritual activities, but also for its political engagement, having hosted significant figures like President Donald Trump in 2020 for a high-profile discussion on race relations and economic issues. Morris's rise to prominence as a religious leader was met with acclaim, but his reputation has been marred by the shocking allegations that have come to light in recent years. The indictment against him stems from accusations of sexual abuse dating back to the 1980s, when Morris was a traveling evangelist. The case centers around one particular victim, referred to in the legal documents as CC, who has now publicly identified herself as Cindy Clemishire. The allegations of abuse, a story of manipulation and exploitation. The alleged abuse began in 1982 when Morris was staying with the Clemishire family in Hominy, Oklahoma. At the time, CC was just 12 years old. According to the indictment, the abuse continued for a period of 4 years, during which Morris is accused of engaging in multiple lewd and indecent acts with CC. The charges against him include 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child, each of which could carry a prison sentence of up to 20 years. Cindy Clemishire, who is now 55 years old, has bravely come forward to share her story after decades of silence. In a statement issued following the indictment, Clemishire expressed her gratitude to the authorities who have worked tirelessly to bring the case to this point. After almost 43 years, the law has finally caught up with Robert Morris for the horrific crimes he committed against me as a child, she said. Now, it is time for the legal system to hold him accountable. Clemishire's statement reflects a sense of relief and closure. Even as the legal process has just begun, she continued, saying, "I am hopeful that justice will ultimately prevail." Her decision to go public with her name was made despite the fact that many sexual assault victims prefer to remain anonymous. She has stated that she feels empowered by the progress in the case and is determined to ensure that Morris faces justice for the years of trauma he caused. The nature of the abuse, described in the indictment, suggests a pattern of predatory behavior, with Morris exploiting his position as a religious leader to gain access to the victim. The power dynamics at play in this case are especially troubling, as Morris was not just any individual in CC's life, but a figure of trust and authority. Within the religious community, his position as a pastor and evangelist is said to have made it easier for him to manipulate and control the victim, thereby deepening the impact of his abuse. Reactions from the victim and the church. Clemishire's courage in coming forward has been praised by many, but her story has also sparked a larger conversation about the dangers of unchecked power within religious institutions. Attorney General Gentner Drummond, who has been involved in the case, issued a strong statement condemning Morris's actions and stressing that there can be no tolerance for individuals who prey on children. This case is all the more despicable because the alleged perpetrator was a pastor who exploited his position, Drummond said. There can be no tolerance for those who sexually prey on children. Drummond's words reflect the severity of the charges, as well as the public outrage surrounding the abuse committed by someone in a position of religious authority. The Gateway Church, in response to the indictment, issued a statement expressing its sorrow and support for the victim. We are aware of the actions being taken by the legal authorities in Oklahoma and are grateful for the work of the justice system in holding abusers accountable for their actions. The church's statement read, "The church also emphasized that it is praying for Clemishire and all those impacted by the tragic situation, expressing concern for the victim's well-being during this difficult time." From his position at Gateway Church in 2022, after allegations about his past surfaced. These allegations were first brought to public attention on the Wartburg Watch, a religious watchdog blog that focuses on exposing abuse within religious communities. Clemishire had previously shared her story with the blog, bringing renewed focus to the accusations and prompting further investigation into the events that took place in the 1980s. Morris's political involvement and public persona. While the charges against Morris are deeply disturbing, they have also shed light on his broader public persona and political involvement. As the founder of Gateway Church, Morris was known not just for his religious leadership, but also for his political activism. In 2020, he hosted President Donald Trump at the church for a discussion on race relations and the economy. The event was part of the church's efforts to engage with political and cultural issues. In addition to its spiritual mission, Morris's involvement in politics was just one aspect of his public life, but it added to his image as a powerful and influential figure in both the religious and political spheres. The revelation of the sexual abuse charges has cast a shadow over this persona, raising questions about how a man who was entrusted with such responsibility could have allegedly engaged in such behavior for so long without facing consequences. The legal process and potential sentencing. The legal process in Oklahoma is now in motion, and Morris faces serious charges. If convicted, he could be sentenced to up to 20 years in prison for each of the 5 counts of lewd or indecent acts with a child. Given the nature of the charges and the severity of the alleged crimes, it is likely that the case will attract significant attention from both the media and the public as it progresses through the courts. Morris, who was not in custody as of Wednesday, is expected to face trial in the near future. It remains unclear whether he has retained an attorney to represent him, as phone numbers associated with him were either disconnected or unanswered when inquiries were made. His legal defense will likely focus on challenging the evidence against him, though the strength of the allegations and the testimony of the victim make this a particularly challenging case for the accused. The charges against Morris represent a broader trend of increasing accountability for individuals in positions of power who exploit their authority to harm vulnerable individuals. The legal system, which has often failed to protect victims in similar cases, is now beginning to show signs of a shift toward greater vigilance and responsibility. The outcome of this case could have significant implications for the future of religious organizations, their leaders, and the ways in which allegations of abuse are handled within these institutions. The importance of justice for victims of abuse. For Cindy Clemishire, the indictment is not just about holding Morris accountable, but also about ensuring that justice is served for all victims of sexual abuse, especially those who have been silenced or ignored for years. Her story is a reminder of the long-lasting effects of abuse and the need for society to remain vigilant in protecting the most vulnerable members of our communities. As the legal proceedings continue, many are hopeful that this case will serve as a catalyst for change, prompting other victims of abuse to come forward and empowering them to seek justice. It is crucial that the legal system remains steadfast in its commitment to protecting children and holding abusers accountable, regardless of their position in society.